Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie. Thank you so much for having me today, and congratulations to Angela for her admission to Harvard and Princeton. And what I'd like to go through today is a bit about the mentorship process, especially for ninth and 10th grade Ivymind students. If you're wondering, where can I begin? How can I build a profile similar to Angela's? We're going to kind of go back to 2021 and go over some highlights of the mentorship to give you some ideas on what you can do as you prepare for college admission. After that, I do have some really great stories to share from Angela's high school website to really show everyone the impact that she's had at Hotchkiss and what a great impact she's had in her community there. So a few things I just want to start off with as we go through some highlights of the mentorship is to think about, especially if you're a 9th or 10th grade Ivymind student, or maybe as an 11th grade student, you're finding some new interests, is to really follow those. So thinking about what your initial interests are here in high school and to listen to those, because if we go back through, as we will, some notes from our mentorship, you'll see all the way back in 2021, here we are in April of 2024. If we go all the way back to 2021, you can see the interests of Angela's then are those great achievements that she has today. So really listen to and cultivate those interests and follow those into really great leadership roles and other great achievements. So this is just an excerpt from February 1st, 2021. This is a statement that we went over in one of our mentoring meetings. So I'm engaged in my school community, serving as a board member to multiple clubs, including Bring Change to Mind, a student-led club for mental health advocacy, Hotchkiss Humane Society, and the Film Club. I also play competitively for the Hotchkiss girls varsity golf team in the spring. I'm a team player, and others often describe me as caring, passionate individual. So here, all the way back in 2021, we talked in our meetings about Angela's interest in mental health advocacy, also her interest in film and in golfing. So these were some interests that started really long ago in high school. So taking time in ninth grade to think about your interests and looking ahead, using all 4 years to really develop those and working with your mentor to really maximize your impact. You can really see from Angela's profile each year, she was applying herself, making the most of what her school offered and taking it to the highest level. So even about, over 2 years ago, we see these interests already. So here, this is some notes from our initial meetings, and we can see early in high school, Angela is really maximizing and taking advantage of the opportunities. Here we have participation in summer enrichment programs, Johns Hopkins, one at Phillips Academy Andover, and CTY Center for Talented Youth at Johns Hopkins. So utilizing your summer, especially the summer from 10th to 11th grade, to do a high-level enrichment program at a university. Again, Angela is involved in extracurriculars that she really cares about, right? So looking at your school, what does your school have to offer? If they don't have a club that you're interested in, you can make one, and your mentor can certainly help you with that process. But these initial interests bring change to mind. The film club, the newspaper, and AAA, the Asian American Advocacy Club, really long-term commitments to these different leadership roles. So Angela isn't involved in every single club at Hotchkiss, but the one she really cares about, she's dedicating her time to, and then becoming the highest level leader or board member. Also, Angela is a competitive golfer, so you might have a talent, an athletic interest, an art interest, and apply yourself. Try out for the team, try out for the chorus, be a stage manager, be a team manager, but be engaged in what's going on at your school. And we can see in Angela's profile, she's doing that with all of her interests. Also utilizing Ivymind, the different contests. So month to month, as you get your announcements as to what's coming up, try Scholastic, try HIMCM, maybe try National History Day. In the subjects that you care about most, in the areas that you want to achieve in, apply yourself and participate in those contests. So in this section of what I wanted to discuss today is really about these initial interests. Really listen as a 9th grader, 10th grader, what are you interested in? If you follow those passions and those interests, they'll really lead to great places. And we can see here a long time ago, Angela had these interests and followed them. Now, moving more into the process. So we learned today already, if I can just go to the end of my notes, all of these fantastic achievements, getting research papers published, All-American High School Film Festival documentary official selection, Scholastic Writing Contest Gold Key. So we see those achievements. But what's really important to understand is the process behind those achievements, the dedication, the time that Angela put into all of those achievements, and going through the process, committing to it, and really not just as an 11th grader, but starting in 9th grade. What do I care about? What do I want to spend time on? What are some contests that would really reflect that? And committing to the process. So just looking at her documentary award, going back to our notes from our mentoring meetings, again, going through the process, all of these wonderful insights Angela learned as she conducted her documentary. So back in June 18th, 2021, right? That was a long time ago. Angela was already making plans for her documentary. And here we see from our notes, I'm just going to read over some highlights to show this importance of the process. So at the time, she was planning to conduct 2 trips to interview an 80-year-old woman who owned a dried lettuce business. And she was really thinking through how to really plan the process, all the steps involved. So the first trip, becoming familiar with the lady, asking for permission, maybe videoing on the second trip, all this thinking behind the scenes that will go into the process of what you plan to do. This was a Hong Kong family business. Quality remained the same. There was lots of competition, and the woman lived in a small fishing village far from central Hong Kong. So all of these background notes leading up to Angela's documentary later on. I think we have a comment. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So next, moving on to July 26th, so a little bit later in the summer, we talked a lot about interviewing. So interviewing her subject, right? So you'll think, you know, how does she create this documentary, right? What were the steps behind it? But we talked about the questions that Angela would ask in the interview. How did she start her business? Her husband brought vegetables and she wanted ones that tasted better than the ones at the market. How does she make the vegetables? Or how does she grow them? How has she grown the company? Angela is going to record her voiceover and is currently creating a storyboard, right? So interviewing is such a huge part of a documentary, but really mastering how to interview somebody takes time. So if you're on a spring break or looking ahead to plan your summer, or if it's Friday and you're looking ahead to the weekend, thinking, how can I make the most of my time? What are that deep thinking that I have to go through to really master these different skills leading up to a greater project? And there are some really great insights that come from that. If you create a project, as Angela did here with her documentary, you get to dictate it, you get to lead it. And ultimately, what you'll find as we talk about a lot in the mentorship is you'll likely care about it more because you've created it. So, some really interesting insights. This I thought was really interesting to share. We talked one day about what you would recommend, Angela, to other filmmakers. So, all of this learning that goes along the way. So, learning and researching about the person, knowing the message you want to bring to the people, contacting the person in advance, going early and beforehand, embracing different directions the film will go in. They might say something unexpected and interesting. And I think there's some wonderful wisdom in this statement. This really says to me that Angela has put a lot of time into this process. These are really advanced documentary and filmmaking skills she's learned. And the only way you're really going to learn something like this is by applying yourself. So, something to really focus on in your Ivymind mentorship, and as you can see from Angela's profile, is she started with these initial interests or ideas and she applied them. So we want to spend some time in the idea stage or the interest stage, but we don't want to stay there forever. You want to work with your mentor to really apply. And here you can see by applying herself and conducting this project, she learned some wonderful filmmaking skills. Let's see. Oh, I see. Absolutely. So, with that in mind, I just wanted to go over that importance again of really coming up with your initial interests and also really committing to the process. And as we talked about today, Angela was able to, reach the highest levels of achievement by applying herself. So, congratulations, and we can now move on to the next student. Thank you.